Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I love her. I love talking with her, but I am going to say this right now that I'm a little apprehensive about what we're going to talk about today because I'm a little concerned what might be revealed. And not just for me, but for all of us. We are going to talk about what we eat, why we eat, what it potentially does to our body, how emotions come into play with that, and so much more with nutrition. So much to talk about that. We're going to just loosely label this nutrition part one today because it runs deep. It is everything. It's the
Yes.
Socrates said that food is medicine. It's our fuel. It's everything. And more in my journey as I get older, that old adage, you are what you eat, becomes even more
Yes.
clearer in a scary kind of way. She's our professional of the year, and she is somebody that focuses on a holistic way of life in many different areas. Doctor of neuropathy, master herbalist, nutritionist, on and on and on and on. Her credentials are amazing. Dr. Jacquilen Tomas Ali is back with us. How are you today?
Hi, how you doing, Steve?
So
How's it
excited
going?
here. Good. It's good. We got a
Good,
lot
good,
to
good, good.
dig into
We
today.
do. We really do. And I appreciate and am grateful for your suggestion slash recommendation that this would be the next area that we would cover. And it's very, very, very significant. Very
Mm.
significant.
Well,
Um,
as a certified
yes.
nutritional counselor, you've got the insight on this. We're going to start at the basics today. Why we need to eat, nutrition, all of that. Where do you want to begin there?
What is the purpose of food and nutrition? Because many times people, they have some thoughts and ideas, but they're really not that uh, um, uh, clear on the real true purpose of food and nutrition. And our body, many people, okay, I'm going to handle this a little differently. Many people, most people, I should say, and I might be going a bit overboard, but many to most people give their vehicles more attention than
Mm,
they do their bodies. And they know that at a certain signal, it's time to put fuel
mm,
in their vehicle.
yeah.
And they get to choose the potency or the
Octane?
type. Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
of the gas that they're going to put in their vehicle, and they go with that. So with that in mind, the purpose for food is to give our body the nutrients that it needs to develop and rebuild, because our body is made up of, on an individual level, made up of cells. These cells form organs. These organs form systems. And I think we talked before about the anatomy of the body. And when the body wants or needs
Mm,
something to help it either refuel or heal, it gives a signal. It gives a signal. So the purpose of food, nutrition, is to give our body the fuel that it needs when we get that signal that it needs something to replenish as it is refueling and healing and doing what it does in support of our whole physiology.
it's a great the connection to the car there because some of us are intentional. You have a newer vehicle, you're supposed to use a higher octane gas. I got a car recently, and I'll be honest with you, sometimes I look at the price and I put in a little bit below what I should be putting in. So it's almost like
Uh-huh.
I'm feeding my car fast food. Not the
Uh-huh.
good stuff. It's all about price, but yeah, well, fast food is also about convenience. But yeah, the light comes on your dashboard when you need to fuel up your car. Same thing with your
Exactly.
body. You have a certain feeling, meaning you need to eat. Um, how do we make that decision of what to eat? I'm
You
just kind of
know,
curious.
well, that's a great idea. That's a great point. Let me also share this. And to this day, I don't know why. I just know that this is a factor that our bodies will also give us a sign of hunger when it wants water, rather than giving us a sign of thirst. And the thirst, by the time we get a sign of thirst, it is we've
Hmm.
gone a bit far in having no having a minimal amount of water.
Oh.
So whenever I feel that need or that hunger, first thing I do is I drink some water and
Hmm.
then wait about 10-15 minutes, and if the hunger returns, then I know that it's time that my body is saying it wants food.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great to know. And I guess think of it this way that when you're having that feeling, why not fill up on water? Because it'll take
Yeah.
space in your stomach. You might even eat less, which most of us need to do anyway. The portions of food we eat today is just a lot. So good to keep in mind. Can't hurt you. You know, if
That's for
you're feeling
real, that's for
hungry,
sure.
you may be just thirsty. It's amazing. Why do you think the body, do we know why it does that? Gives you that signal?
You know what? I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I have taken several classes on physiology, anatomy, physiology, and have asked the question. And the instructors will come up with some what they think is an explanation, but really it's like they don't know either, but they
Wow.
really don't want to say I don't know. And so I just let it go
Well,
and just accept it for it to be what it is.
it's what we know is what we is good enough. That if you're
Yes.
feeling, hunger, it might be that you need to hydrate.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly, exactly. That's a great place to start. Now, in terms of what we eat, much of our eating habits came from our parents in
Wow.
terms of they what they fed us. So it's more of a family thing. And based on family history, a lot of times that old adage of meat and potatoes was one of the key things that was emphasized because many times our parents would grow their own produce, and it's very inexpensive to grow potatoes. So they would include that. And if it was about meat, then it's like chicken, beef. It's so a lot of times it's a matter of what they were able to obtain, cost factor, as well as what they were raising and serving themselves, as well as what they were served when they were children. So it becomes like a family history that, or a family habit or protocol in terms of what we eat. With my in my family, um, we we did we did pretty much the same thing with meat and potatoes. However, my parents um, they, for whatever reasons, they enjoyed growing produce in the backyard. So my mother would grow tomatoes, and my father would grow different types of greens, whether it was collard greens or turnip greens. And so because they enjoyed that, that was also included in my eating habits. And I'm going to be honest with you, I tried to, because they would say, come on out, let me teach you. And I tried learning, but it didn't resonate with me
Hmm.
in terms of me doing it myself, me growing. But I understood that they enjoyed it. So it wasn't so much the health benefits. They knew it, but they also enjoyed sharing and growing. And if they had some extras, they would give it to the neighbors next door, across the street, and so forth.
Do you find yourself now, Jackie, really loving vegetables because it came from your childhood? Or, yeah, you like them, but yeah, you don't love them. Like, how do you feel?
I think that was a great foundation. But as I got older, and this was before I was a naturopath, I noticed that there were certain foods that I could eat and my body was like, ah. And then other foods that I would eat and my body was struggling to break it down. And I had to really take steps to separate or to not separate, to really look at and examine taste versus what's going on with the processing of the body, within the body.
Hmm. Um, my childhood, this is what I ate. I'm not even
Okay.
exaggerating. This is it.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Bologna,
Uh-huh.
hot dogs, milk,
Okay.
and anything Hostess. That
Ah,
I'm was the pickiest eater as a kid. I only began eating chicken. This is embarrassing. When I was in my 30s, maybe.
mm-hmm.
Just I did just in, and that was by accident. Long story, but whatever. Even when I was a kid and finally got to the point of hamburgers at McDonald's, it was the meat and the bun. Now I'll eat anything except seafood. Not really into seafood, but
I
anything,
hear you.
no
I
problem. But
hear you.
it's amazing how our tastes change. And but guess what? I was the big pudgy kid, the kid that got bullied, the fat kid. Look what I was eating. And yeah, my
Ah,
mom was single, busy, so she would just buy whatever she could because she was busy. Um,
yeah.
but
And
yeah,
I'm
it's
sure her budget, the family budget, had an
sure,
influence on it as well.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so where do we go from here?
So, in terms, what I'd like to focus on next is the taste and why you said hostess and what else?
Um, Hot dogs,
Hot
bologna,
dogs,
milk, and
bologna.
Hostess.
Okay. All right.
That was my
What
major
I'd
food groups back then, by the way. What is it?
what I'd like to focus on next is how foods are not just randomly put together, whether it's especially with fast foods. They don't just put things together randomly. There are, I guess, five standard tastes that we utilize, that we are accustomed to, and that we've come to know that is a part of our eating habits. And this is something that not came about, but was shared more openly in terms of Chinese medicine because they're very much aware of these five tastes in
Hmm.
terms of sweet, salt, sour, bitter, pungent. And pungent is the same as spicy. and that there are certain flavors that balance out other flavors or draws to a person. If I have some of this, then I want some of that. If I have something sweet, many times our desire for something salt or salty is what we desire, because
Hmm.
when we look at how the tastes balance one another, sweet and salt have a tendency to balance each other.
Hmm.
Bitter and sour balance each other. Spicy or pungent and salt have a tendency to balance each other.
Yes.
So
Why is that? What's going on there?
it's just the way that our taste buds are set up and aligned.
Hmm.
And when a person has goes to fast food, they know this. They know that if we combine something sweet, then we need to offer something salty.
Wow.
And that if we offer something salty, then we need to offer something sweet. And if we're going to add some pungent to it, meaning spicy,
Hmm.
we have to also be aware of the taste that helps to balance it out, or to have us come back for more and more and more and more.
They got to figure
Eh,
it out because
They
it's
do. They really
millions,
do.
billions of dollars. And to your
Hmm.
point, had a barbecue last night at a friend's house. Just a bunch of guys got together,
Nice.
and we started talking about tahini, which is uh, it's just a spicy condiment, if you will. But
Yes.
it's super fun. Like you can put it on fruit, and it makes the fruit taste great. But
Yes.
or you put it on steak, whatever you want to, whatever, it doesn't matter. Even people on some cocktails will put the rim of the glass with tahini on it. Let's say it's a spicy margarita. But here's the point to illustrate what you just said. This product is sold, been around for quite some time. It's spicy, but it's also salty. Now, they didn't need to make it salty. They could have just made it spicy, but that's what's going on there. And that's the magic in it. I don't know if
And
so to your
yes.
point. Wow,
And
amazing.
that's what will encourage people. And I'm using the word encourage because sometimes for some people it can become like almost like an addiction.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's what encourages people to continue to either buy that spice, buy that product, buy those foods, and put them together.
And I thought of another one, and this is one
Hmm.
of my favorites. If I go to a fast food restaurant, I will get a chocolate shake. And what do I put in the shake? French fries. Why? They're salty. That's the magic. There, wow.
Yes,
I didn't know that
yes,
we all have that um, in our taste buds, like why we need to have that.
yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah, our taste buds have all five tastes, but it really depends on our style of eating as to which taste we develop over a period of time and so forth. And even whether we do fast food or cooking, like you were saying with the cookout, it's still a matter of what habits are we transferring over that that we are incorporating in our foods. And when we come together next week, because there's still a couple things here that I'm going to talk about. But when we come together next week, one of the things that I'm going to share is how we combine certain foods that help with not just the taste, but also, and I might end up repeating this, when we eat foods, it goes into our stomach, right? Our taste buds sends a signal to our stomach to let it know that certain foods are coming and send out the digestive enzymes necessary for the body to digest the food properly.
I was unaware that that was going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's if a person is eating based purely, well, I shouldn't say purely, but primarily on taste, like the sweet and salt, there are going to be certain things that the person will eat that the taste will say are compatible, but the stomach, when the food comes down, releases digestive enzymes, and those digestive enzymes may not be compatible. And then next thing you know, the person has, you know what I'm
Mm.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we're not taught how to make those food combinations, but instead give us the magic bullet of some type of something that will help take the heartburn away so that we can continue to eat the way we've been doing.
Amazing. We have about a minute or so left. What
Okay.
should we hit?
So what I want to do really real fast is talk about, we know the taste and habit is a factor, but also our emotions are factors as well. And that when we're going through an emotional phase, whatever it is, whether it's celebrating or whether it's sadness, we have a certain desire for certain foods. Why? Because it's a habit. So emotions always plays a part in it, and it then becomes a habit, but it's a matter of us being aware of the emotions that we're feeling. When I was, and I'm going to say this part, and then you can do your thing. When I was putting together the pieces for this presentation for today, at the very same time that I was doing my outline, I got a phone call from someone else who also has a podcast with Podcast Business News Network. And she called me to just get some ideas, suggestions, feedback, whatever. And I was really surprised. And, I don't believe in coincidences. So I answered questions, but I said, what do you do? And what she focuses on is in her business is helping a person through the process of death and dying with their family members, and how that is a factor in terms of the foods that they choose because of the emotions that are a part of it.
Wow.
So I told her name is Crystal. I told her that I would give a shout out. Her company, her business is called Ebb and Flow, and her phone number is 719-641-6959. And she's going to be doing some things on Podcast Business News Network as well
Wow.
in her
Thanks for
time.
reaching out, Crystal. It's amazing.
Yes,
So
yes. No,
what
yeah,
you
no
learned?
coincidence.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there are, you know what? I heard this term about coincidences and I love
Uh-huh.
it. They are no coincidences, they are coincidental incidents. So these happen
Oh,
to be happening at
yes.
the same time, but it's not just a coincidence. It's
Yeah.
it's an incident that coincided with another one that's going on
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
And it's not a fluke. It's really in energetic alignment.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Yep,
Hmm.
yep, yep. So
So
then next week, we're going to talk about how we can put together certain fruits and vegetables. I'll probably bring up a few more items that we talked about today to kind of link it in, but we'll do it that way.
excellent. How do we connect with
Okay.
you? Somebody's got questions about nutrition or just looking for a holistic outlook on life. How do we do that?
Now, it's interesting you asked that because when I first started my practice, I did a lot on nutrition because this was before I even knew about Body Talk.
Wow.
And so therefore, that was one of the key things that I did. But then I noticed the more and more I focused on nutrition, the more and more people um, had certain other things going on that I knew that Body Talk was presented. Again, a coincidence that that was presented to me around that same time. So now it's to the point that when a person wants a nutritional profile, a pure nutritional profile, and that's their main thing, I've connected with someone by the name of Dr. Sunlight Little, and she's on my website, and she will sit down with the person and set up a program if that's what they want. However, if it comes up during a body talk session, because there is a couple of areas where it could come up, then I'm able to answer or handle whatever comes up at that point. And my website is dun, 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 earthlyessence.life. Life. Earthlyessence.life.
Always great talking with you, Dr.
Thank you, you
Jackie.
too.
So much insight, and this stuff is so important. And if you talking about body talk, you eat something, a little bloated, a little gassy, whatever it is, happens on a fairly regular basis, your body is telling you something. There's
Oh, yeah.
shouldn't be happening. And that and more. Looking forward next time we get together.
All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it as well.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.